Welcome back to the Bradley University podcast. I'm Angie Cooksey. I serve as the Vice President for Enrollment Management, Marketing, and Communications.
And I am Ben Jed, and I am Assistant Vice President for Marketing and Communications.
And we get the awesome privilege of recording the Bradley University podcast down in Hilltop Studios, which is in the lower level of University Hall. And today I'm so excited because our guest is Interim Liberal Arts and Sciences Dean and Biology Professor, Dr. Sherry Morris. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, Sherry. I was just thinking, so since we started recording these like with video, I just got super self-conscious that like, am I looking down too much? Do I have like
I know, like what are we doing with our hands?
Yeah, I had my glasses down and I was like, oh no, how does that look? And so.
Well, those are just the glasses on your face, not the ones that are on the table or the ones that are in your suit jacket.
I have just two pairs of glasses on me. So.
So what we do on the show is get to highlight the amazing people that are here in and around the Bradley community and give them space to share a little bit about themselves and their work in the classroom and their experiences to Bradley University. And so to jump right in, let's start a little bit about your background and your journey to the seat that you sit in now as an interim dean.
Thank you very much. So I've been at Bradley for 25 years. I started as an assistant professor in the biology department in 2000.
Okay. Well, that makes it easier to count.
Yeah.
I know. I was just like 25 years ago. When was that? But yeah.
Again, easy math.
Yeah. I was a comm major.
And I came, I'm originally from Southern California.
So you came here for the weather?
Oh, yeah. I came here for the 5-minute traffic jams.
Ooh,
yeah, sure.
That is my favorite part of the report every day on the news. They're like, and there's traffic on the bridge. It'll take an extra 2 minutes. And you're like, that made the radio this morning.
I went to San Diego State for my bachelor's and my master's, and then Ohio State for my PhD. I then went to Michigan State for a postdoc before coming to Bradley.
So in your space in the classroom, what is your favorite class to teach?
My favorite class to teach is ecosystems ecology.
Oh.
One of the best parts of that is that we do in-class research projects and we get to go to the field. So we have 2 university vans that are designated for the biology department, and our students go to the field with us. We're in the forest looking at forest soils, forest plants, and really getting to understand what those systems look like.
So this is your favorite class, student projects. What's one project that you still remember?
Well, we've been doing a lot of work with garlic mustard. Garlic mustard is an invasive species. So a lot of the projects we do are both part of my research program as well as my interactions with students in the classroom. So we take our research into the classroom. And it's great because there are a lot of different areas being impacted by garlic mustard. So being able to talk to students in the field and say, hey, this is an interesting situation. Look at the plants. They always come up with some really unique questions, and we have the ability to do that research, which then informs my research and broadens the projects. So it's been a really great opportunity to work with people that way.
So I'm going to ask you about your research in 1 second, but first I feel like I need to know what is garlic mustard, because at my house, those are just spices in my spice cabinet.
I think it's actually in your grass. I'm only guessing this, and I might be wrong.
Okay,
so we're gonna learn.
Is Ben right?
Yes and no.
We'll start with the yes.
We'll start with okay. Yeah.
So garlic mustard is an invasive plant, and it starts out as a rosette in the first year, so a very small plant that you might see on the edges of your grass.
Okay.
But it's a lot of times on the forest edge or just in the forest. And then the next year it bolts, so it puts up its flower stalks, and then it releases thousands and thousands of seeds.
And then does it just essentially take over everything in that area?
It does.
Oh,
so you can have just lawns of them, and then when they go to flower the next year, they just expand their area.
Is that something that's unique to here in the Midwest, or is it?
It's an invasive plant that was introduced to the United States in the late 1800s. People actually brought it with them because it can be a medicinal plant. But once here, it's expanded from the East Coast to the West Coast, and it's pretty much everywhere.
So I promised that I would ask you about your research. And so when you talk about research here at Bradley and then what you do as an academic for research, but then also how that translates into what research means here at Bradley, what does that look like for you?
So my research is on soil organic matter dynamics. So I actually look at soils and what happens to soils with land use change. So there's a lot of agricultural fields that actually were replanted to trees in the 40s. So I've been following what happens to soil quality after that. For me, in terms of working with my students, there's all kinds of questions we can ask about land use change. Impacts of invasive species, just one aspect of land use change. So I can talk to them about what my part of the research is, and then they ask questions, and we develop extensions that I can work on with them.
Like every time we have faculty on here, I just am so in awe of all of the things that
and
are
now
happening.
we're like, can we take your class?
Yes, we ask that every time because it's so interesting.
So can you tell us what makes LAS, the college or the classes within the college, unique at Bradley, and what you could even talk specifically about science. How is Bradley unique from other university experiences?
So the sciences at Bradley are really unique in that we really do engage undergraduates in those research experiences. And the reason that I say it's unique is a lot of times students that are undergraduates are going to be engaged to do things like wash dishes.
Right.
And so if my students are washing dishes, it's because they made the dishes.
Okay.
So
you should have to wash your own dishes. That feels like a reasonable rule.
A lot of times the graduate students are the ones that get all of the opportunities. And so we have really small graduate programs. So we really do challenge our undergraduates to fill those roles. And they do. They do amazing jobs. If you walk through Olin Hall, you'll see all the posters on the wall that really do show the unique faculty-student collaboration. And for us, we know that we're giving our students those advanced experiences that they wouldn't get elsewhere.
I've had multiple students over the years that have come in to the liberal arts and sciences and have had opportunities to do research sometimes as soon as their freshman year. And I think that in and of itself is wildly remarkable about the things that you all give them access to so early.
Absolutely. There are students that we challenge early on, and we engage them to learn the basics of scientific research, even starting their freshman year in their content classes. So they really are ready for those challenges.
You know, we talk about research, we talk about what is going on in the student experience. What is one maybe student story? And this is always one when we ask faculty, they're like, do I have to just pick one? But what's something in your 25 years at Bradley is a student story that really sticks out to you, or that really was one of your like, oh, that's a Bradley experience story that I would love to share?
You're absolutely right. I've had a large number of students that I've just really been able to work with. I've had students in my research lab for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Those experiences are really dynamic because you get to know the students so well. They have gone on to med school. They've gone on to graduate school. I have some that are, doing work now as PhDs in all kinds of different labs. So that part is really, for me, just so heartwarming to be able to know that they've been so successful. I have one of the most exciting experiences was when I was able to take students from my research lab to Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens is the volcano that erupted in the 80s, and I've been doing research out there since the 90s, looking at land use change, so what happens in terms of soil regeneration. So there's been 2 different trips that I've taken with students out there, and it's just awesome to be able to see them.
What a cool experience.
Yeah.
Wait, can we spend more time about all the trips that you've taken? Because you've gone on some pretty cool, or you've led some pretty cool opportunities for our students outside of the Peoria area. Can you talk about some of those?
So I've also taken students to Costa Rica, 2 different study abroad
experiences. It's like my favorite
experiences.
place in the world.
Yeah, they do a really good job with sustainability. So being able to talk about that in the lens of sustainable practices and global climate change has been really interesting for the students, and they actually get to see those principles in practice.
If you are doing that in the future, if you need anyone from marketing to attend, I will volunteer. Just putting that out there.
You bet. Certainly let you know. And that's been a collaborative experience. Jeannie Bukowski in political science has gone with me on those trips, and we've been able to bring students from the sciences, students from other LAS programs, and from international studies with us on those trips. So everyone gets to experience it at different levels.
This is also why we get lost on our script, because I go off script all the time. But on that note, I think it's so important for us to mention the collaboration that happens in liberal arts and sciences across campus. And what does that mean for you, and why is that important in your role as the interim dean?
I think that collaboration is really important. As an ecosystems ecologist, I can't know everything about every system, so I've always had to work with other people in terms of my own scholarship. But being able to work on that culture within the college has also been really important. And there's a lot of natural collaborations across different departments. Being able to spot the people that should be working together and then the projects that can bring them together is really essential to being able to help people move forward in terms of those relationships.
That's really cool.
So what's something that the Bradley community may not know about your Bradley experience?
Or just you in general.
Yeah.
We've learned about people horseback riding. We've learned all sorts of things on the show. We have stumped Sherry. What is something that's unique or interesting about you? You have something. You guys just went to Poland.
Yes, we did. We went to Poland, so that was another study abroad experience.
Well, that was study abroad. Okay.
Yeah. We've been working with the Poznan University Medical School, and for us, we are working so that part of our curriculum, so a couple of years for our students, can count as their first 2 years of med school.
Oh, awesome.
So that kind of collaboration is really important.
So do you do a lot of, like, have you done a lot of study abroads over the years? Like to different, do you choose different locations personally?
I don't.
Okay.
Both of those were projects that other people brought to me, which is
nice.
great.
Yeah.
But we've been able to put them together in really unique ways.
That's very cool.
That's also one of the things that we built in biology is a course called the Ecology of Place. We can take it anywhere.
It's on the go.
That was intentional. You talked about the relationship with the institution in Poland. You guys have a lot of other cool kind of community partnerships and community collaborations that you've been developing just to give our students exposure to other things, maybe in the med school world or things like that. What has been maybe one of the most interesting collaborations that you've gotten a chance to work on while at Bradley?
So the Early Assurance Program with University of Illinois College of Medicine at Peoria, that's a program where our students as juniors can apply to med school at the College of Medicine in Peoria, and they've actually reserved seats for our students. So it really is a matter of being able to make sure our students are prepared and then taking them through the application process. It is great for them because, they have a fairly direct way that they can access seats in med school. And we're hoping to set the same kind of thing up with the university in Poznan. But the way that we got there was actually I was working with a Bradley alum who is currently one of the directors of the medical school at UEComp.
That's awesome.
So
It's those connections.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things that we ask on every show is a question that we get pretty much the same response to initially. So we'll see if that goes for us again today. We talk a lot about what makes Bradley special and, the classes experiences that you've had and all of that. But we want to put you on the spot a little bit. Dr. Sherry Morris, what is something that you are unapologetically exceptional at?
I think probably building teams.
I love that. That was an immediate response.
That was
you win.
quick. That was good.
Great.
I just see that the better buy-in you get to teamwork, the broader you can make the scope of whatever project that you're working on. And I think that at Bradley in particular, we really need to bring people together.
What do you look for when you're building a team?
I would say people that are like-minded, but people that are like-minded about the end goal, but not how you get there. Because there's a lot of different routes to the same outcome. And a lot of times if you blend those, you can actually be more inclusive of the entire community.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Thank you very much, Sherry, for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Is there anything that you would like to add to the show today?
Well, the one thing I will say is the one reason that I'm at Bradley is
yeah.
they told me during the interview that I would get to do research with undergraduates. And that's why I'm here at Bradley. And that is what I've done for 25 years.
I was going to say, and you stuck around.
Yeah, they didn't tell you would come on our podcast, but now you're here. Surprise. Well, thank you so much. I think one of the things that has been most enjoyable about getting to do this show, and then certainly getting to work with all of the deans across campus in the seats that Ben and I get to sit on, is the collaboration is alive and well because of people like you in the seats that you're sitting in and are willing to say, there's different ways that we can do what we're doing. Doesn't mean it's going to be better 100% of the time. It doesn't mean that what we're doing is wrong, but that we're willing to look at things and be creative and be innovative in new ways. And I think you're an exceptional person at that around campus. And we're so glad that you were here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Welcome. That is another episode of the Bradley University podcast. As always, if you want to be on our show and answer our questions, you can reach out to Ben Jed and he will get you scheduled. And we look forward to seeing everybody next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.